All right, let's get started here. We are here live to discuss the new Chrome. We're going to get SoccerCardsHQ in here for our new format. Just a second, hopefully. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Let's make sure he gets in. Good afternoon, welcome in, welcome in. Got to make sure HQ gets in. Let's see. He's unable to join. Hold on a second. Is there a way we can edit this part out? Technological challenges. All right, we're just waiting on our co-host. We'll get started. Unable to join. Well, I'm going to give you my one-sided review of Chrome then if HQ doesn't join here. The floor is mine. He's a little older than me, so he's technologically challenged, but I'm bringing it to you live from the office, too. I watched a little. Yeah, so far so good. A little less great color than you'd probably hope. All right, he's joined. Can he not get in? Send him another invite. There he is.
All right, my bad.
I already told them all that you love the product. You're super excited, and go bananas.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hold on.
All right, get yourself set up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about our initial thoughts day before 24-25 Topps Chrome Club competitions release.
Jeez, get a hold of yourself.
My goodness, the hair looks good.
All right, I
Lighting is good.
I didn't know you were gonna hop. I was waiting. Whatever.
Yeah. All right. Here we are.
All right, here we
We're in. All right. Where do you want to begin? Print run.
Yeah, I mean the biggest problem is print run. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Let me get another palette loaded up. I got that. Let me get another
I mean, 10,000 hobby cases.
We've talked about this a lot over the past couple years. Print run was up last year. I think my thoughts about print run are that at some level, if you want Topps to continue to innovate with this product and do new things that cost money, like acquire more signers, expand the autograph checklist, have more on-card autographs, have, different things that they work in, the choices are either that they will have to charge more money for the product or increase the print run or both. And they're charging less. This is coming out cheaper than last year's release.
Yeah, so they quote unquote have to, because I think they're trying to go public.
Well, it's a business. Yeah, they're not a hobby. They're a business.
They're a business, but yes, they're a business, but Topps was also a business when they were running when they were running things, and they would decrease a product when the previous year's product stunk or sat on shelves or whatever have you. That's no longer going to be the case.
Yeah. We're living in a post-Topps world here. Fanatics is not going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I realize that's going to be the case, and it is what it is. It's not going to prevent me from not saying that is the problem, though.
Yeah. Supply outstrips demand in the soccer card market right now. I think we probably both agree on that point.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my whole biggest thing for, what I really wanted to drive home with this review was we had Lamine Yamal last year.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest rookie that we've seen in post-boom soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can still get a box for the same price it released at.
Yeah.
Exact same price.
Yeah.
And that price is only $20 higher than what this is releasing at. And so,
yeah,
what can happen with this set? Like,
it's funny though, as a part-time breaker. So in the interest of full transparency, I am running a retail break of Chrome. So you could take my opinion with a grain of salt if you want. But it's funny to me because, I'll try to do prism breaks or multi-year prism breaks, and those never succeed the same way that a multi-year Chrome. Like I can usually pull off a multi-year Chrome or a multi-year Sapphire break pretty well at any point in the calendar. Like there just seems to be more demand for the UEFA product versus the single league license, but not the demand to meet the current print run. Like this stuff will this will become dead wax potentially, like just sitting on a shelf forever at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said at the end of the review, if I was a breaker, I would just be breaking 23, 24.
Yeah, but there's no appetite for it though. It's like not right now. People won't want it. You wouldn't be able to. I don't think you'd be able to fill a 23, 24 break this week.
I mean, maybe not, but why not?
You'd be able to sell the Yamal spot, because people want the shiny new thing. I mean, I think that when you think of like the breaking community, everybody wants the shiny new thing. Prism was underwhelming. Prism EPL was underwhelming in some spots, and I think they've done enough here with this release, enough different and new things. Even though we don't have a Lamine Yamal, I think they've done enough stuff to kind of make it interesting for the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that there's opportunity here with some of these rookies, but you're going to have to wait years for it to play out. And we found that nobody really wants to do that. They just want to chase. Yeah. They want to chase what they're told to be chasing. They want to hit what they're told to be hitting, and they want to flip it, and they want to get in. They want to try to scratch off the right lottery ticket, open the right pack, and so forth and so on. I don't think the value's there right now to do that even close. But I do think there's rookies in here, there's cards in here worth buying. So from that standpoint, this product could in the future be great, but I don't see it happening now. And as I said, like the rookies, if this was a Merlin release with these rookies, and I knew it was the end of the year, I would be so happy. I would be thrilled. Get short term or short print rookies of some of these rookies that actually have a lot of hobby potential. I'm in. It's Chrome, it's essentially the first release of the year. We're going to get them in everything probably, and so that's like a little less encouraging. But yeah, there's cards in here worth hitting. There's teams in here that I haven't looked at a single break price sheet like a PYT, but I'm sure based on some of these rookies that I personally think are decent. No, I'm not going to say who they are because I don't give that type of advice. They're in the
I don't want to we don't want to be trolled.
Yeah. They're in the but
trolls are already out. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's some spots that I'm assuming will probably be somewhat interesting, and they'll probably sit, or maybe they aren't, because there's some people in here that do their homework. But overall, I mean, I've seen the results now of 3 cases. It's brutal. It's downright brutal. I mentioned it in the.
Is the review live? Is the review live yet?
The review went live. Yeah.
Okay.
The review's
live.
Guys,
reviews live on SoccerCardsHQ.com.
Yeah. The reviews are live. The review is live, but you're only guaranteed. Sorry, wrong word. On average, you will hit. Yeah. No guarantees. On average, you're going to hit 1 true base color gold or lower.
Right.
And it's probably going to be gold.
Per case, per hobby case.
Per hobby case.
Yeah. That's less than great.
One in every 3, you're going to hit orange or lower.
So you're hoping in this product for the autos, because they've expanded the auto checklist, but they've also expanded the number of people in the auto checklist. You're hoping that the autos kind of carry, you get a nice dual or triple or quad auto.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be it's extremely top heavy, and look, most are. Let's not kid ourselves, but
yeah,
as I've talked about, like in a select Serie A case, right? You're probably going to get a 101, so it's like, if you hit a 101, even if it's not a great 101, you're like, hell yeah, I hit a 101, right? If your best base card is a gold of somebody stinky, you're not feeling good.
No. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because they have, it's not a top heavy. It's not as like single player top heavy. So there are some rookies that you can kind of cherry pick that some have played well. It does very much feel like we're in a Desiree Douillet or Cole Palmer situation where maybe the big rookie from this class has not yet revealed himself, and it might be a slower burn. And we know that there's not that kind of patience in the soccer card market for that just yet. Like we're not mature enough to have a whole group of people who will operate and buy those cards and hold them. There's some, but it's not the majority. The majority are joining breaks for the quick flip, which I am also guilty of. Like I'm joining breaks because like they got new guys, and I know George Weah is going to have autos downstream just like Zlatan did, but he doesn't have autos downstream right now. So if I get them today, I want to be one of the first sales, and that's what keeps the ecosystem kind of one of the things that keeps the ecosystem moving.
The ecosystem. Shout out ADA.
Shout out ADA. I mean, I think it's interesting. One of the things that they've done well, I think, to give them credit, is that they got most of the rookies to sign, right? So you have a good balance of like rookies and rookie autos. Certainly no Lamine Yamal as we sit here today, but you got some rookies to chase across a smattering of popular teams in the hobby, from the hobby perspective. So, we could be looking at a 2020 class down the road, but I think we're a couple years away from being able to say that.
Well, so here's the crazy part, right? When we think about it. So 2020, and sorry if I'm looking away, but I'm looking up the
Print runs.
The print run. So 2020 was an incredible rookie class. Like we can't.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
right.
Agreed.
And I haven't looked, but I think the last I looked, you could still get a hobby box for under $300.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's right. It was a terrible product, but a good class.
Yeah, and like there was half the sorry, what?
More than that.
You know,
Less,
yeah,
fewer than half. Yeah.
fewer than half of those boxes, right? And
Yeah.
so it's like, I mean, that's ultimately just the problem. That's that's it. So there's two ways to, well, there's more than two ways to attack the hobby, but there is the you open / break, right?
Right.
Or you buy and long term hold.
Right. Or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
Right. And so I can tell you, as we sit here, the ROI of breaking is not here for this product right now. As we sit here today. That's not saying cards you get today couldn't prove to be like great break value in the future, right? Like you pay whatever $40. Like if you would have bought Monaco if you'd have bought Due spots when that product released, you probably wouldn't have got the ROI then, but your
Not
ROI
then. Right.
Your
It depends.
ROI is there now.
Yeah,
Right.
it also depends on your outlook, right? Like I am joining breaks and taking the spots that I'm taking because I'm trying to hit the superfractor triple, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think it depends on how you collect. Like if you're buying breaks, buying spots to grind out ROI on a quick flip with all of the numbered cards, like that's not going to pan out. I don't think that ever pans out across any sport. Like you're chasing, I mean, it's gambling. You're chasing a big hit. And so from my perspective, on the checklist, they've done enough with enough enticing big hits spread across a bunch of different teams and a bunch of different types of cards to make it interesting to me. Like you look at 2020 Chrome, and I know it was a great class, and I know that class stands the test of time, but that product was boring as hell. Like nothing exciting, nothing interesting. Like 2020 Merlin, there's just not a lot going on in those sets. So they've introduced enough things like the trophy, superfractor, multiple case hits, which we know Topps doesn't do case hits quite as well as Panini, but they still are doing them. You got Bowman's now. Like there's enough interesting little tidbits here to make it interesting to me, I think, to kind of pick different spots and have some fun.
Yeah, I mean breakers can, or whatever, whoever's selling you the product, there's enough there that they can convince you that it's good.
Scott, I don't agree.
Huh?
You're like, I do not agree, but
no, I get it, right? Like it's like there's a reason that and you go into a casino and every slot machine has different, they make them for different movies or characters or whatever, right? Like, there's going to be something that you can definitely. And look, I give them credit. They went deep. The Bowman used stuff. I don't know like how it eventually plays out with like the first Bowman, right? But good on them. Good on them for doing it. They deep dive some rookies. They got some good ones. They're always pretty good about that. Good on them. Like, I think that there's stuff here. Like I said, I don't hate the product. I hate the print.
Don't like the print.
And unfortunately, the way I approach it, I can't detach one from the other because just the brand, the SoccerCardsHQ brand or whatever. My goal is just to make sure people don't get crushed and want to leave the hobby because they lose all their money.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the thing I think about is, we have. I was joining the hobby at a time where 2020 Chrome, joining back at a time where that was being broken a lot in the early days of whatnot, and those single boxes were breaking at like $600 to $750 a box at the time. So when you have this product coming out at what is it, 200 retail. I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, I want the print run to be more like that, but then, and you and I have had this conversation before. My theory is if they do that, the price is going to be 3x, and then that's a barrier to entry to people joining because they're spending so much money so quickly. And if the singles market, will that make the singles market catch up, I guess is the question. To use your example of Select Serie A, those singles don't sell worth a hell. Like outside of Kavicha and a one-on-one, like is a green to 5 in Select Serie A getting any money? You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, La Liga does fine. Like Serie A is probably
three teams do fine. Maybe
yeah,
two and a half.
Yeah, but that's loaded. Those 3 teams are the ones that load the stained glasses and the case hits, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I think mentally people would just feel better hitting one-on-ones. Like if you hit a one-on-one that's worth 200, or you hit another card that's worth 200, you'd rather have I think most people would rather have the one-on-one. I could be wrong, but look, they're not going backwards. We know they're not going backwards. Now you the buyer can go backwards, even though nobody likes going backwards.
Yeah, collect how you want to collect. If you don't want to join breaks and you don't want you don't have the FOMO, wait a few weeks and buy singles. I wouldn't be buying singles now because they're only going to go down. It's like the same principle that you're seeing with the mangas, right? Like you look at the pricing on a manga from World Cup Prism or Copa Prism and how that's decreased over time. Like, why would you be paying $600 for a Phil Foden manga? Like you would. So like you got to wait a good 3-4 weeks ish. Stop devaluing my Zubamendi cards.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, do you want to talk? I know this is for watchers of Walking with HQ. This will be a well-trod topic, but do you want to discuss the Wookiee situation or no? Are you over it?
I mean, like I said, I'm exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted from it because I know.
Okay, I have new information that I want to share with you and get your opinion on that. All right, the true Mbappe rookie sticker comes out 627 days before his Topps Chrome 2017 rookie.
Stickers and cards, I'm not comparing.
Fine. His true Select National Kit rookie comes out 6 months before his Topps Chrome rookie.
I've come around on for the record, I've come around on the Prism. Like it's Prism, I've come around on the Prism. Don't tell me 2018 Donruss is though.
No, that's because that comes out a full year later in the calendar.
Well, these have come out a full year. These are full year. Here's the thing. Here's the whole thing on Wookiee. On these specific Wookiees, right? Nwari and Endrick, right?
Can we divorce the two? Can you do Endrick first? Because I think it's different. Oh, you do your thing. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you my bit.
Okay, I do. Yeah, they are different in that he switched teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he switched teams. He actually has, the Palmeiras, the Brazil, and now Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So it is different.
And also not great for Topps because he's played not at all or poor. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you have a Lamine Yamal situation where it's like, yeah, I'd want to release more rookies of this guy because he's killing it, right? Like he has not performed well. Those cards have gone down. His true rookies have gone down a lot.
If Endrick were to become a Madrid legend,
right,
then maybe the Wookiees would stand, right? Nwari, I don't see he's either going to become an Arsenal legend, and he already has Arsenal cards, or he's not, and or he leaves, and then you're definitely going to I think you're only going to want the ones that came out the year before, right?
Yeah. The trouble I have with Nwari is that he comes out in Select EPL after Chrome is released last year. Or it's like within 2 weeks. The timetable of Select EPL and Chrome last year.
I don't even care. Like for the most part, well, I do care when the physical thing comes out, but like if you were here, that one is like.
But he wasn't even in the Champions League roster last year, so he couldn't have been included. He wouldn't have been included in the Champions League sets because he's not.
I'm not sure that matters because, well, I'm not sure it matters for Topps, I guess I should say, because they have rookies in here that
we're not in the Champions League. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not in the Champions League
in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like they've got guys in that had to debut just in league way after but anyway.
So yeah, our MP makes a point. Topps shouldn't be rewarded for messing up and not putting him in Chrome last year. I don't see it that way. I think you're confusing rewarding Topps with what is really going on here, which is absolute corporate espionage between Panini and Topps. Like, I don't know to the extent that the Rookie Shield matters between them, but these two companies are in active war with each other. So if I'm an employee of either, I'm figuring out any way I possibly can to screw the other company. And taking a prominent hobby, if I'm in the soccer card market, looking at a prominent team and putting them in a product so that the other company cannot do it is absolutely something I would do. And why should we as collectors now have to suffer because of that? Or reward the bad actor. Like you're rewarding Panini for being the bad actor
you're rewarding Panini for properly prospecting.
Why is he not in Donruss? Why is he not in any other product that had Arsenal that Panini did? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. They put him in Impeccable.
They got him
in IMAC.
I mean, my whole thing about the Wookiee isn't necessarily like rewarding one company compared to the other because they both do it. It's not calling one out because they both do it. Mine is, it just causes confusion down the road for new
people.
For newer people, it causes confusion, which I think I've said it many times is the biggest detriment of the soccer card hobby is the lack of a go-to rookie. Like the one that you're like, I think this player is going to be good. This is what I should buy, which we have in every single other sport except for soccer. And two, there can be no consumer confidence that I'm going to buy a Panini and or a Topps card for this year, even at the end of this release year, because I now have to worry that in the future, the other company is going to release a card with an RC on it. My card is going to be devalued, and now I'm going to get screwed. So, when can I buy an RC? 2 years after the fact?
The trouble now is that the only sports that aren't suffering this are baseball and hockey. Because you have a similar version of this battle playing out in football and basketball,
but
where one company but you're making the decision: do I buy an unlicensed autograph or do I buy a licensed non-auto?
That's easy. You buy licensed. If you're buying unlicensed,
I would think that the market pricing on that does not indicate that that's easy. The price of a base Wemby unlicensed auto versus a base Wemby non-auto licensed, the auto's outselling the licensed card.
Well, I don't think they have. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's a question. It's the base is the only question because I think the auto. I don't think there's unlicensed and licensed autos. I could be wrong. I think there's
I'm saying
licensed base.
You have this. You have a You have like a split of. I almost said bifurcation. Like we're in a trial here. You have this split of like you have to pick. Do I want a Topps unlicensed autograph of Wemby, or do I want a Panini? If I'm picking between one or the other, or do I want a Panini non-auto licensed, which is not the same but a similar decision? Do I want a select EPL 1/1 black Wanyeri, or do I want a Topps Chrome came out later Superfractor Wanyeri? Like it's not the same because soccer has this weird thing with multiple companies having the license to the same team, or the same league. But it's similar like friction to new people, right? Like that. I guess that's the point I'm making.
This isn't like this is not the same argument at all. But follow me, and maybe it makes sense, right? Cristiano Ronaldo only has one rookie card, right? Everybody agree, even though they put another RC on it, right? Whatever. There's only one, and like those cards do, really, really well, right?
Yeah.
And so that is what it is, right? So we can't really necessarily compare that, although, he does have the Manchester stuff that's numbered, and some of that stuff goes like crazy, but that's because it's numbered and like it was old, right? But then like if you look at Messi, all of Messi's stuff is essentially the same year. There can be some whatever. But at the end of the day, the one that everybody considers to be the best is the one that goes crazy, while the other ones do
well, but not not.
Yeah, I mean, I think the PSA 10 I posted last night ended at like 15 grand, right, or somewhere around like give or take.
Yeah.
That thing is pop 8. That thing is literally pop. I'm almost
like arguably a better looking card too than the 71.
Yeah, I'm almost certain it's the rarest PSA 10 Messi rookie. And
did 10% of what the
10. It did
less than 10.
It did a 30th. It did 3% of what I think the next
10
Messi 71 will go for, right?
But
I mean, I know, like I said, it's not the same, but like I just feel at the end of the day, you should.
All right, let's talk about Endrick then. Do you think that as it relates to Endrick, his whatever you think his best Panini rookie is, will outsell his Chrome Superfractor? I don't think it will.
I think so. Here's how
should it? Maybe is the
should it absolutely. Here's how I look at a case like Endrick, right? Let's say Endrick ends up being a star, but it's not at Real Madrid, right? Because if it's at Real Madrid, but let's just say that thing doesn't shake out and he becomes a star, but he becomes a star wherever, right? Like, I don't know, Liverpool, whatever. Like, I'm just don't
somewhere else.
So you look back and you're like, do I want the one where he was in Brazil that I clearly know, or as Palmeiras that I clearly know is before Real Madrid, or do I want Brazil because if he becomes a star, right, like the chances are he's going to be a star for Brazil too. Like, I just look at it chronologically, right? It for me it's the same thing, even though they're the same year. Like the way I've always looked at Holland, I always wanted Holland in Salzburg because everybody knows that like Salzburg came before Borussia Dortmund. I knew he was leaving Borussia Dortmund, right? And he was going to be a star. It wasn't going to be at Borussia Dortmund. It was going to be somewhere else. And so, like, that's just the way my brain works. It's like, I just think the earliest team.
It's easier if he moves. I think it's easy. Well, yeah. I mean, if he doesn't pan out at Real Madrid, it's probably an easier call to make. But what if he does? Let's say he does. And Bryn said Endrick to Liverpool. Here we go.
Yeah. I just announced it. I just announced. Cut it. Clip it. Make it the video.
That'll be the one that makes the socials.
No, I mean if he becomes, but that can be said about any card. I don't even think the RC necessarily really matters there. I think if anybody becomes, like, nobody wants Odegaard Real Madrid cards. They want Arsenal Real Madrid cards, and that's his, what, 7th year? I don't know. Whatever, 6th year, whatever the hell it is, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that can be said about anybody, right? I think you're talking about the person that comes in that's not the team collector, that's like...
Right. Just more of a hobby collector. All right, so let's...
More of a hobby collector.
What, you want to talk about the Yamal Marks of Excellence?
No.
Okay, next subject.
No. I mean,
do you want to talk about Chrome?
No. I hate it. I'm going to be, that's the other thing. I'm going to be wrong. Whatever.
You're already being proven wrong on this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, because that's nobody cares.
You're allowed your opinion too. Like,
Yeah, nobody cares. We have a hobby. Whatever percentage of the post-boom hobby is like mainly money based, right? The post-boom soccer, right?
Yeah.
So if we say 90% of the current soccer collectors are post-boom and 75% of those only care about money, then that means 2/3 of the soccer collectors only care about money, and all they're going to do is see the RC. So like I've been before it, and I just, I believe in rarity. Like that's what it comes down to. I believe in rarity. I love rarity, and doing stuff like this just crushes rarity. And for me, like I refuse to buy a card of a rookie, quote unquote rookie, that I plan on holding forever until the next year at least is out. Because like what's the point?
Well, and I was the price on those cards has gone up so dramatically prior to Barcelona's exit from Champions League that the barrier to entry is high anyways. Like I know people that were just trying to buy one of the actual rookies, and they're like, "This, like, it's crazy. I can't. I'm not going to spend $3,000 for." And they don't grade at all. Like they're terrible quality on them.
But like, my whole thing is like just pretend you're a prospector, whatever you want to call it, and at the end of last year, or the end of last release calendar, I won't say last year release calendar, you're like, Yamal's the real deal. Right. He only has whatever 450 whatever on card rookie autos. These things are going to be insanely good in the future, right? And then you find out, well, maybe there's 800. And you know what? Maybe in 2025 or maybe even in 2026, we'll actually release his best card, which will be a dynasty. How about that, guys? Like,
that would not be great.
Who in the hell wants to deal with that? Like, who wants to, like, especially if you have real money, right? You're like, I could be wrong, but I find the people that are willing or not willing, that are actually spending the real money, care about stuff like that, right? Like I'm sure there's a ton of rich people in here that do breaks and stuff like that, but like the people spending $50,000 on a card aren't taking the chance on, and if they are, they're going to be very, very pissed off, like right. I think ultimately soccer had a huge run up, right? In the boom, kind of like everybody else did. But like probably even a higher percentage boom, right? Because there wasn't a lot.
Because the stuff was worth not a lot. Yeah, and there wasn't a lot.
Good stuff wasn't worth a lot, and there wasn't a lot of it, right? And so now it's like we had like real collectors that would spend 5-6 figures on cards that didn't collect soccer cards come over, and they got their teeth kicked in, and now they're gone. And now some of them are coming back, but they're only buying the best of the best Messi and maybe the best of the best Cristiano Ronaldo, right? And that's not what happens in other sports, because I do believe some of it is just consumer confidence or whatever the heck you want to call it, where soccer is just treated so badly because of the double license that how can you really invest like real money when you can do everything right? And years down the road, one or the other company just screws you.
Well, and then just to be clear, for folks who don't know, because we're kind of assuming, there's people will come into this conversation with all different types of knowledge. So what we're talking about is the Lamine Yamal marks of excellence. What is it? 4 of the 6 of those cards, or
3 of the
3
6
were put out in last year's products by Topps, and so they're releasing the rest of them allegedly in 24-25, still with the rookie shield on it. What Bryn said last night that I think is an interesting point is it'll be interesting to see whether he used the old auto or the newer scratched out signature to see if it's true, because Topps has come out and said.
But will it matter?
I don't think it'll matter. It should matter. But Topps will come out. Topps came out, I think, during the industry conference and said, he had just not returned them all in time, which just seems like complete. Like nonsense. Like
he signed 1, 2, and 6.
We got him to sign 400 really quick, but then he wouldn't sign the other 400. Like, I don't know about that. Like it's
and they were numbered 1, 2, and 6, mind you. 3, 4, 5 appear to be the ones I think.
I don't know that it'll matter. I was treating them like Pokemon. I wanted to catch them all. Like I wanted to have the whole set but then the price just got crazy in the last couple of weeks, so I got out, and we'll see if it comes back down to reality. We like on-card autos, right? Let's just be clear. We want to have more on-card autographs. We like them. Like, soccer has been bastardized in this arena compared to other sports, you know, particularly baseball, where on-card autos, unless it's a dual or triple, are like the standard, and then sticker is frowned upon. Like, here, we've only had sticker autos. I mean, Panini, someone put out the stat that's, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, that in all the years that Panini had the Prism EPL license, they never once put out an on-card autograph in that set. Not once. So it's like, we want to encourage that. So it's, from my perspective, it's like, okay, I don't know if it'll matter. What's Bryn say? It keeps getting repeated, but they didn't say anything about Yamal being in Dynasty. There are definitely 24, 25 rookies in it, though.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, like, we don't. I only saw Soccer Breakers mention it. I tried to verify it over and over. I asked Brent. I asked everybody that I knew from soccer.
Who's there? Yeah.
So I was the only one that said it. That I saw that said it, at least. People kept repeating Cy or regurgitating, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. But, like, would it shock me, like, that they're gonna do something crazy like that? Like, I think if they if they do something, I don't think it'll be a standalone 23, 24 Dynasty set. But I do think that they could find a way. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying this is the way that makes the most sense for me to see a Dynasty card. It'll be like a one-off Dynasty card, maybe even in something else, or like redemption somewhere. I don't know. Like, whatever it is, I'll freaking hate it. But
we want, here's a good question, call to wax, Danny. Don't we want his cards, meaning Yamal, to stay up? His cards staying up brings new money into the hobby.
And they won't stay up if you keep doing this. That's my point.
Well, yeah, I think that's the idea, right? Is that it will eventually, that money will exit, because they'll just get annoyed that it's this weird and complicated thing that doesn't seem to be easily understandable or trackable. Like, there's too much of a barrier to entry to understand all of this BS that we all understand because we are, like, living it and doing it daily, but not everybody's experiencing soccer in that way. And I think the bigger problem that we have in this country from the hobby perspective that they probably don't have in Europe, they definitely don't have in Europe, is that among people who are in our age demographic, soccer is not anywhere near one of the most popular sports. So, like, the way to bring in new collectors in America is probably not to convert 40-year-old white men into, they're trying to get kids. And so, you got to get kids who are already super into the sport of soccer to become collectors, or to become collectors of soccer cards. And how do you do that? Well, you got to have some bells and whistles to do that. It's not going to be with 2020 Chrome with the only thing is, like, an image variation. One guy pointing this way and the other one he's pointing that way, and that's that's not going to excite anybody. That's a kid.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 24, 25 Topps Chrome, but, like, it's the whole soccer. I don't know, the whole ultra modern soccer space is a very, very difficult one. And look, more and more people are coming in. I think, look, Fanatics / Topps.
I mean, it must be working if they're coming in. It has to be working at some level. They are
incredible marketers. They're making a crap ton of money.
Sure.
Full stop.
Sure.
They're making a crap ton of money. The collectors are getting their teeth kicked in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't hear that from a lot of people.
Oh, nobody's going to be like, oh, yeah, I just, lost $1,000. Right? Like, you see the wins, you don't hear about the losses because nobody wants
to fess up to.
I mean, that's social media, 2020, or social media period. And you only put out your best foot forward, and everybody's hiding like they're terrible ass kids. Meanwhile, 75% of the time the kids are yelling, and all you see is the cute, picture.
Yeah. All right. So anything else on Chrome? You want to talk about the Grail?
Oh yeah, I mean the Grail. Look, the Grail is incredible. They made 50 of them. they put incentive behind it. Like that speaks to my heart. Like that is just incredible. Like I wish there was more of that,
I'm hoping we see soon some social around the Cristiano Ronaldo winner. Like I'm still somewhat, that kind of died off, like the first guy to complete the set was supposed to get an all expenses paid trip to this upcoming Champions League final. Like I'm hoping that gets manifested and we could see it. So it's like, okay, that happened,
Yeah,
it's different prize. I don't think they've announced the prizes for completing the Messi Grail. They've said there are prizes, but I don't think they've said what they'll be.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, look, I'm not anti-Topps. I'm not anti-Panini, even though like everybody, especially breakers, will be like, "Oh, you're just anti." No, I'm not. Like they do a lot of cool stuff. When we get, like the debut patches, incredible, right? It's just that on the macro level, the hobby is making more money than ever, but I personally don't think
Hobby businesses, yeah.
The manufacturers, PSA, the people that sell you boxes, whether it be breaking or selling, are doing better than ever. The individual collector is not, So eventually that usually doesn't work well for businesses. But
Well, but does it say more about the soccer card hobby itself rather than the hobby at large? Like, is that more of a negative? Like, we just don't have the market cap in soccer cards that they do in other sports.
Well, yeah, because we're relying. So I've long said, so Americans are much more likely, like just the way we're wired, to like spend a bunch of money we don't have or maybe do have, gamble, just take the bigger risk like that. That's just like the American way, right? It is not the European way or the South Central American way, like some countries just don't have the dispensable income that we do have, but it's just also not the way it is, right? So the explosion in soccer has taken place in Europe, right? As a percentage, and maybe even in real terms, but definitely in percentage terms, right? But they're mostly new collectors, right? Like I've been doing this since I was a child, right? I have had cards that were once worth $5 that are now worth five figures, right? So and I've seen cards that were worth once $100 that, or I don't know, whatever the mantles were, four figures that are now worth eight figures, right?
7,
8 figures, right? So like I know it myself, but even if you're in America, you knew somebody, or you likely knew somebody that was collecting cards as a kid, and some of those cards, are now life-changing money. That's not the case in Europe, right? So I just think the Europeans aren't as willing to drop 4, 5, 6 figures. Now I'm not saying all, but I'm just saying, as a collective, because
not yet.
Not yet. One, it's just not who they are. That's
different
not
mindset.
It's not their mindset. And two, they haven't seen the huge winners. Now, as time goes on, they're going to be seeing the huge winners, right? And every time you see a huge winner, that makes you more likely to then get in. So it's happening, and it's going to continue happening. Now, the soccer card hobby will continue to grow, but if Topps is upping print runs by 40%, it's not growing 40% a year.
No.
No. So that's the problem.
Yeah, they're trying to will it into I mean, look, I think they're doing interesting things. I'd love to see, I know there was talk about this at the industry conference, the debut patches, if we could have that in a Chrome or a UEFA product. If that can happen, that'd be great. They're doing the right things to kind of innovate in this space to get it there. I frankly don't really know. It's a demand problem, in my opinion. I don't think it's a supply problem, because they're not going to go. You just have to exist in the reality of this business. Like, if you want them to be doing the types of things that they're doing with quad autos and interesting patches and interesting autos, like, you have to be willing to go along with the ride that they're going to print this thing in a way that they can make money based on the cost. Like, and they get to decide how much money they want to make. Like, it's not up to me or you.
Yeah.
Go buy Topps, like Ruben, like go get your venture in line and be an investor if you want to be in on that part of the.
Well, don't bring that up. Don't bring that up, because I did invest in the Topps back only because I knew it was wildly undervalued, only for Ruben to steal it all from me.
I don't mean you specifically, but so
I know.
As it relates to Chrome, which is their main UEFA release product, that kind of kicks off. They have flagship, but it kind of kicks off the rest of the products downstream for the rest of this release calendar. In my opinion, they've done a really nice job with some interesting things. I think there's room for improvement, like with any product. I feel a lot better about the actual checklist. And it's not to say that breaks are the way to go, but I feel better about the checklist and the different opportunities to hit something that could get you your value back from a break than I do in Prism EPL.
Oh, Prism EPL is.
I got crushed chasing Arsenal cards in Prism EPL, like just to maybe hit a manga. I mean, a color blast is impossible to hit. So like maybe hit a manga and try to get your money back if you're lucky. Like there's no, I think if you're comparing what is available on the market, Topps does a much better job of making some interesting and new concepts and trying things out, not being afraid to fail, to try to make it enticing to get new people in and to reward people who have been in, to try to get them to stay in.
Yeah, like I said, it's an interesting product that they definitely did some cool things on. Just printed to the moon.
Printed to the moon. Broke the first commandment of HQ.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you say, it's at the end of the day, it's supply and demand. All this hobby or pretty much anything in the world related to value is supply and demand, right? And so, I mean, people are I've seen the result. I mean, some people are broke. Some people privately sent me the results of their case breaks, and it's awful. It's not only awful from value. It's not only awful from value. It's awful from. I just got my teeth kicked in, and there's not a single card in here that I really want. To keep long term. Like that. I think that's the bigger problem. Like if you open up the Prism, you're gonna probably, not guaranteed, but you're probably gonna get like a gold, right? And
maybe.
And you're.
I think there was 3 cases broken last night I was in, and there was maybe 1 gold, a black gold of a goalkeeper. I mean, there's just not as many interesting cards to me, because there's not as many interesting teams to me in EPL as there are in UEFA product.
Oh yeah, UEFA products are.
They do a better job with the legends. They do it. I mean, to be fair, they have a bigger roster of good teams to pick from, right? So part of that is just the nature of the beast. But like, I could go online right now and buy a box of Select La Liga that came out today for $370, or I could buy 2 boxes of Chrome, almost 2 boxes of Chrome.
Yeah, I haven't done the print run on the La Liga yet, because I wasn't sure which. There's like a new bronze honeycomb or something. I basically haven't seen the hobby only parallels, but well, I mean, La Liga, it's in the review. But the biggest problem that these sets now have is that there's no Messi, or there's very little Messi.
No Ronaldo.
No Ronaldo.
Little Messi. Yeah, it's a problem. I mean, that's a problem across the board. Yeah.
I checked. Messi is not in the La Liga, Select La Liga. Whoops. Messi is not in the Select La Liga. Messi is barely in Chrome, and Ronaldo is not in Chrome. Those cards matter, right? You hit a gold Messi, you have value. You hit a super Messi, you have really good value, right? Like a super Messi, even non-playing days, like right now, it's probably still going to be the most expensive card in like any set. And Super Ronaldo is going to be the most expensive card that's not a Messi. Maybe Yamal might take him now, right?
Yeah.
And then, just in case you're about to leave, don't go broke buying Lamal second-year cards, people. I don't even like giving this type of advice, but Yamal second year.
This is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice. Yamal second year might seem good now, but wait until Yamal 10th year. Like, no, if he was on a different team, I don't know.
I mean, you say that, but then you just got done saying the reason that Chrome sucks is because there's not enough Messi or Ronaldo cards in it. Who would be in their 21st year?
I'm not saying don't put him in. I'm just saying that, like, as time. I mean, this is proven as time goes, as more and more cards hit the market, people gravitate to rookie cards. And then if there's like really cool like patch auto or auto or rare, but like don't if you want to buy a second year Lamine Super, have at it. If you're buying a second year magenta lava to $299 for like,
I mean, even the first year of that, there's two. That's a print. I mean, that goes to your print run thing. I don't think that's a second year, first year thing. I mean, I think the issue is when you look back at, and we talked about this early before Yamal kind of had the breakout at the Euros. I think we had a conversation where it was like, yeah, there's just going to be so many of them that the non-interesting ones won't matter. Like, there will be some that matter, and I think we've gotten to that point where it's like, even some of the reds and blacks don't matter for Yamal rookies. Like, they don't do the numbers, because they're not aesthetically pleasing or they're not from a key set, but like the reds and the blacks and the supers that look aesthetically pleasing still do really well.
Yeah, somebody said, why does like Kobe second year cards? Because there's not a lot of there's not enough Kobe rookies to fill the market. There's plenty of Yamal rookies to fill the market, right? There's plenty of like, you can't compare the old cards, of which there are very few, compared to now when there was like way too many to begin with.
You gotta go.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I mean,
we're in the middle of this.
Yeah.
What about there's some new things. You want to highlight any of the new things? You got the Helix insert case hit makes its debut. Pretty low print run on that. That's interesting. Munich at night. We like those.
Well, Helix will do well. I have a feeling Helix will do well. They do well in other sports.
We like the Helix in WWE Chrome.
Yeah, Helix is printed low enough to where I think it will do well. Munich at night, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, there's more of them than Berlin at night, right? Is that the one?
Yeah, like I'll ask you, what do you think happens? But what? Okay,
I still think there's.
What happens to Berlin at nights based on Munich at nights? Will it hurt or will it help? Will a Berlin at night be worth more a year from now because of Munich at night, or will they be less?
I don't know. They're aesthetically very similar cards.
There's none of the same player, which is a good thing.
That's good.
So yeah, I can see it both ways. So that's why I was wondering what you thought.
I could see it both ways. I think it slightly helps. There's so few of those Berlin at night, so there was like 20 or 30 per player.
20. Yeah, 20.
Yeah. Those have got to go up. They already do pretty well. I mean, for the good players, like the numbers already do decently well. They should be higher than they are. It's a great looking card. I mean, they did a nice job with those. Those are nice. Like,
I'm shocked that the Berlins at night don't do better. Maybe because of the product they came out in. So like I could see it helping, but like if I don't know, like Gavi is on Munich at night, right? And Pedri is on Berlin at night. Sorry, again. And it's like the Pedri. Pedri might be a bad example because now Pedri is the best player in the world. Shout out PDS. Shout out to ADOT. But it's like, there's going to be so many of them, and so I actually think Berlin at nights are one of those cards that's too rare for its own good, and I think from that standpoint, Munich at night could help because
it's like the sublime of Topps. There's so few of them, it doesn't matter.
there's so few. Like something can be too rare for its own good, and it definitely in the short term because enough people don't have them to price protect them.
Let's see if there's any question. I want to just address a few things for folks that don't know. You've got Sir Alex Ferguson has 2 different autographs in the set, which is interesting. I always love a good manager card. He'll probably have more autos later, so it is a kind of a word to the wise about overspending on the drop here. George Weah debut autos, he'll also likely have more, but not right now. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't go crazy spending.
You sell every single one of those you hit, and you buy them later.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, there's all these people that say, "Oh, I only buy singles." Well, I mean, singles go down. Like, when are you buying? Because some people will push back and say, and I'm not a professional breaker. I do it as a hobby, so I'm not some shop that's running breaks all the time. But like, I'm friends with enough that do, and people will say breaks are bad. You should only buy singles. Well, the singles only go down. Let me show you. Like, let's pop into Card Ladder then and talk about the pricing of singles in a post-release world from last year's Chrome. Like, on the exception of Yamal, most of those singles have gone down in price year over year. So, like, what financial sense does that make? Unless you're buying raw to grade and then flipping. Well, like, that's not great financial advice either. Yeah, buy singles a year later, Motor says, sure. But for what purpose? If it's for PC to hold, great. But don't act like they're going to go up in value, because they don't. For most cards.
That's a whole different, like, show.
But there has been a lot of chatter on social media over the past couple of days of like, oh, these breakers don't know anything. They don't watch soccer. They don't know who's good. I do, and I'm only going to buy singles because of that. Like, that's rubbish. There's no data to substantiate that is a better way. You're going to get crushed on most breaks. You're going to get crushed on most breaks.
If you're saying break week 1 or buy singles week 1, then well,
how about neither?
Well, you should be doing neither, but I feel like you're presenting it as people are going to do one or the other. So what's the better way to do it? Yeah, I mean they both stink. I try to put in as many things and as many reviews as possible. Don't FOMO into this, right? You shouldn't FOMO into like any of it, especially
unless you love cards.
Unless you love cards. Shout out BTL.
BTL.
But yeah, I mean you can't like. The other problem is with soccer is they come out so late. So like, yeah, you shouldn't be FOMOing in because
we're at the end of the UEFA calendar.
We're at the and they even got this.
It's early.
They got this out early, but it's still late, right?
I remember we were ripping this at National, the guys were breaking SLI. Shout out SLI. They were breaking it live at the National. I mean, I still remember joining those jumbo breaks.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like. Yeah,
I think what you'll see is the initial pop here, the FOMO, people that like breaking, people chasing the big hits will go in. I am one of them because I'm going to be honest, as an Arsenal collector, if other Arsenal guys are in those breaks and a big card gets hit, I'm never going to be able to get it. There's not going to be the opportunity for me to buy a single.
Shout out Arsenal.
One Airy, like a Superfractor. Like, that's my shot to get it because I'm not going to be able to buy it on the secondary market. Because it's not going to get sold, or it's going to get sold to some whale in England, and I'm not overspending what he's going to pay. Now there's more than one, right? So sometimes you have to kind of do that as an entry to try to get those big cards.
Yeah, and and tinfoil hat. They're only giving them to the big breakers anyway.
That's right, tinfoil hat. Conspiracy theory. They're only going to the breakers.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it is. It's not great. None of it's great.
I mean, it
is what it is.
It's all fine. It's like, here's the way I always say it to my wife. It's like, well, if I was into golf, I'd be spending a lot of money and getting nothing back. Like, I'd be going to Scotland. I'd be going, like, getting to Chicago's cheap. Like going to Australia to golf or going to Scotland to golf and getting no ROI. Like, at least here I can get some ROI, and you got to do it at a place that's comfortable for your life. Not everybody's at the same place that you or I are at, or anybody else. You do what's comfortable for you. Find a point of entry that makes sense. There's going to be blasters. Shout out 5Case blaster break. Still great spots left. There's going to be
does the retail king do hangers? That's the question. That's the retail people king, on the street.
The retail king has to draw the line somewhere. hangers might be a bridge too far. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think there's a lot of fun stuff in this. I mean, ultimately, I think, I do agree that it's printed more. The 30% print run increase on hobby kind of was shocking to me. I knew it was trouble when I saw multiple people with content around getting their pallets of Chrome, which I had not seen before,
And multiple people making social media pushing the product. Although that
you get usually. That's happened. Like, as we've had this like consolidation in the breaking community with
it's happened, but now with the I don't think it's any coincidence that after the Topps Industry Conference, we've all of a sudden seen this push by the breakers putting out more.
Well, Fanatics said they're going to grade the breakers on
all
of these things. So I mean, it's a business. Like I think some people want this to exist in like fantasy land, that's this beautiful hobby, and everybody is like in it for charity. Like, for most of these breakers and companies, it's a business. And so like, if you approach it in that way as a consumer, like, I'm not going on social media and crying because Amazon is making money when I order from Amazon. Like, what exactly do you want to have the reality be, I guess, is the question. Like,
I mean, they're doing they do it there. They think's best for them, and I do what's best for the hobby.
I do what's best for BTO.
I do what's best for the individuals. They do what's best for them.
Actually, that's not true. If you saw how much money I spent on breaks, you would know that's absolutely not the truth. I do not do what's best for BTO.
Well, I mean, I thought the shout out Soccer Card United, like their last couple pods, I'm sure like people hate, but God, I give them so much credit for doing them, especially knowing that they were at the industry conference. Like, and they're in the business of selling boxes. Like, they're one of the few.
Yeah, they sell hobby boxes. Yeah,
they sell the boxes, and they're like giving it to you straight. And I thought the best line I've ever heard on that show was, I'm paraphrasing, but was basically the breakers aren't. Oh God, I should look it up. But basically, the breakers.
You tweeted this.
Yeah. Basically, the breakers aren't hyping up Fanatics or hyping up Topps because they want to. Topps is making it so they can't not hype them up or something like that. I just butchered the hell out of it.
That was the spirit of it.
Yeah. I'm not calling out names here, but there's guys that I've interacted with in the past before they were breakers that were more along the lines of like, we're willing to say something bad now, that whenever I post something that is, I think there's going to be way too many EPL products, they're like, "Oh, what did you, blah blah," rushing to the defense.
Yeah, sure.
Defense, right? And so, like, when I look at that, I'm just like, I'm going to say it how it is, at least how I feel it is.
Yeah,
right?
How I see it.
Yeah. How I see it. I'm not always going to be right, but I'm going to always say like how I see it. Whereas other people will just say what's best for them. Like I had this, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and this is totally non-hobby related or whatever, but like I overheard a conversation on the street the other day, and it was essentially about how like an influencer, they weren't going to do something in their own life. This had nothing to do with cards because like an influencer said not to do it or whatever. And I was like, if the younger generation, like, I don't want to be the old man yelling at the clouds right now, right? But if the younger generation is a worse generation, I believe like it's because you have a bunch of social media influencers or whatever you want to call them, telling them what's best for them, the influencer, but not what's best for them, the audience, right? And that's kind of how I feel like when it comes to breaking. Like, the breaker's telling you what's best for them, the breaker, they're not telling you what's best for you, right? So then if that is the content that you consume the most, and if that is the content that gets blasted out the most, then you just have a bunch of people that don't know any better, and they think that the people who that they buy from or who that they trust are saying what's best for them, but really that's not the case.
Well, and I mean, it makes it hard because outside of the Soccer Cards United podcast, there's no one who's consistently putting out, besides the breakers who are putting out social media content. Like, there's not a lot of soccer card content that comes out regularly and is recurring to consume. I get my HQ review, I get my Walking with HQ, I get my pod, not as much as I want it from the guys at Soccer Cards United. And then it's like there's a vacuum, And so, the breakers and their content has kind of stepped into that void in the past year. We've seen a consolidation in that space with a couple big names, acquiring smaller time breakers.
Yeah, there's consolidation. Topps is pushing their much, much larger audience to those people as well, by tagging them, highlighting their content, tagging them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So the general
it's not working on the app, at least in soccer. Like, it's not translating from what I see onto the Fanatics Live app in terms of eyeballs for soccer. If you look at like the amount of people watching the best breaker Vita Breaks on Fanatics Live doing soccer versus an A. single show on Whatnot is getting easily 5 times the viewership.
Yeah.
They
did change it from MLS to soccer finally, right?
Yeah, that happened. That happened a while ago. I don't think it's made it better. There's not the viewership over there.
Can people outside America use Fanatics Live yet?
They can, but they can't buy from. So Fanatics Live is now live in the UK, but they cannot buy from American breakers as of yet. I don't know why. Something to do with the shipping. Obviously, this was something that Whatnot solved a long time ago. So I don't know. We've gone way off topic, but
sorry.
It is related because it's like I think my point with Chrome is you can buy singles, you can buy hangers, you can buy blasties, you can buy hobby, you can buy jumbo, you can join breaks. There's a lot of points of entry. You can hate it and sit it out. Totally fine. Buy what you want. Buy where you're comfortable. Yeah. Don't blow your mortgage or your rent money on soccer cards. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, there's. Maybe I shouldn't make this statement. There are ways to make money in soccer cards. A lot of people aren't doing it the right way.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I get. I'm trying to make that as like politically as
buy low, sell lower. That's right.
Yeah. Most people are buying low, selling lower. So if that is the goal, I don't think that should be the goal. But if that is the goal. Like, I think it should be a part. I don't think it should be the goal, right? Like, I want to make money in soccer cards, right? But it's not my only goal, right? I'll buy something because I think it's cool, right? But if it was my only goal, I know what I would be doing, and it's not what 95% of the people are doing. And the problem is, I am not sure those 90 or 95% people know how to do it and just aren't doing it because it's not as fun, or they just don't know how to do it. That's where I don't.
I think it's a blend. There's, it's just so easy to get it spoon fed to you. And look, the realities of like, hey, I got this invoice from Fanatics and I got to sell this shit to pay the invoice. Like, that's just business. Like, these are businesses. So don't go into it with blinders on. Break with who you like. Shop around for price.
Shop around for price.
If you want to wait it out. There's going to be Sapphire, which will be better looking for sure. We didn't talk a lot about the base design. You like it? It's grown on me.
It's fine. Like, I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's it is what it is. I don't. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't sway me one way or the other.
Yeah, I think it's good. I like it. I like that they've numbered the lavas. So, there's positives here.
No, I'm not totally down on the product. I'm totally down on the print run.
Every breaker that watches this messaging me, bitching about how this conversation went.
And like I always say, there's nothing like, maybe maybe this changed because I assume you're going to save this. You're going to put on social media, so a lot more people people that follow me.
Unless you don't think it's a good idea.
No, I'm fine with it.
We didn't talk about the only one. Is there going to be only ones in this?
Oh yeah, there's going to be hidden gems too, probably. But damn, what was I going to say?
Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah.
I'm going to save it, post it to social media. People will DM me.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the people that follow me, more than likely, aren't the one, or maybe they are, but like basically, I'm not changing anybody's mind, right? The people that read my reviews and are like, "Oh yeah, this is bad," they probably are. They probably realize like it was bad anyway, right? So that's why like when breakers come after me, I'm like, I'm not changing your people's minds, and you're doing fixed price shoving it down people's throats anyway. So like it doesn't matter, right? There's like you're not giving them the option to for the market to decide. Like the eBay breaks are the true market. I know you hate
Oh
eBay.
my God, here we go.
But they're the true market, and they're always lower than the fixed price. So yeah, outside, well, they don't really. Nobody's doing blaster Chrome eBay breaks. So shout out BTL Retail King. But look, if you're, like if you
it's an
like
untapped market for me.
Yeah, if you like supporting a breaker because you like that breaker or you like the crowd, of the live of that breaker, you're going to keep doing it, and you should keep doing it. If you're looking at this as a money-making opportunity, you should be looking at eBay breaks because 95% of the time they're going to be cheaper than what you're getting force-fed on fixed-price breaks.
Then I'm going to be waiting 7 weeks for North of 7 to ship me my stuff from Niagara Falls, which is an hour and a half away from me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, go get them.
I'll drive out there. All right. Chrome coming out tomorrow.
Vida, you should
still spots left. Still spots left in the TL.
Vida, you should have slept in 5 more minutes, buddy. You would have missed all that.
I mean, you break with who you want to or not at all. I think we both have the same opinion. There's a bunch of different ways to collect. Do what's comfortable for you. And maybe someday you'll be like us and you'll be buying Pope cards on Topps now. And that's just how life goes.
But let's just end it with, how do I have a Vatican rookie card from 1902, of which there are only 4 graded, that I couldn't give away, and 135,000 people are buying freaking Topps Nows of the Pope? Is my Vatican rookie card now worth more?
That's it. That's not. People want that white smoke variation, baby.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, good luck to everybody out there collecting. Happy Chrome release day. All complaints must be in writing to @SoccerCardsHQ on Instagram. Make sure to
check out the review.
Check out the review.
More importantly,
it's balanced.
Yeah, and more importantly, check out the rookie breakdown, because I do think that your favorite, not you, but your favorite person that's putting out the rookie breakdown, whoever that may be, because I've seen a few. This is not calling out anybody. Has missed some. That some potential. Nobody that's gonna make you rich today, but
yeah, we're in a Cole Palmer situation, we think.
Yeah, Cole Palmer, Desiree Douay. Like, these are 16, 17-year-old kids, right? Slow like, not everybody's Lamine. But there's some guys where if things break correctly, they are in, like, they basically play the right position. They're from the right country. They're young, and they currently play for the right team, or they could end up playing for the right team. Right.
I don't know. I only buy Arsenal defenders, so if there's none of those on the list, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, we'll end it with shout out Arsenal collectors. You are the best team collectors in the hobby.
This is just what he says, so that I'll keep doing this. This is.
And I never do central midfielder or defender, or basically anybody behind a central midfielder on the field. Rookie breakdown, and I did one for MLS because I just know that the Arsenal collectors are that damn good.
They love them, maniacs. All right, guys, good luck. Thanks for joining in.
All right, save it, clip it, and let's
see you in an eBay break. Let's go. Bye.
All right, later.